Calibrating. So understanding the internal and external calibrations are very important to your success selling on the internet here. So internal calibrations, this is what we're going to do along the way that you move towards your flagship product. So internal calibrations are changes you can influence based on new skills you've acquired, existing skills that you've improved upon, the new insights and desires that you have in your life that just naturally occur over time, because over time you have experiences, and experiences alter your perception of what you desire and how you look at things and what insights you have. All of those things should not be wasted. They should be used to make adjustments within your flagship product in the model, the path that leads to that flagship product. So you're going to calibrate, recalibrate, and recalibrate. Interacting with customers is one such experience that will give you new insights, but it's not the only one, right? But there's also external calibrations. So this is your marketplace going through the same internal process that you're going through, because they're getting new experiences and new insights, which create new desires all the freaking time, right? And they're acquiring new skills and forgetting old skills too. And also, in addition, the external influences, you're directly influencing them by how you're interacting with them, and so is your competition, and so are complementary people that they frequent. So direct and indirect competition, global events as a whole can affect even specific markets, technological advances, and so forth. Just be aware of these things and continually always try to make it to where you're getting closer to the heart and center of your market by continually making adjustments so you get to know them better and better and be on the same page and being in sync with them all the time. And it's not like they're a standing target. They're moving constantly, and so are you. So this is what we call calibrating. So calibrate, adjust, calibrate, and adjust. And part of that calibration comes from data analysis. So the last thing I'm going to talk about here with you is understanding how to interpret data. First, you got to know this. All data can be manipulated to further someone's agenda, including your own. You can lie to yourself with your own clever manipulation of data. So when you look at data, make sure you look at it from different angles. I like to look at I don't try to fight myself on manipulating data. I say, let me manipulate this data to see if I can present it in its best way possible to myself. Now let me manipulate this data to see if I can present it in the worst way possible. Now let me manipulate this data like a normal person probably would go about it. And now I have three perspectives which I can help analyze and utilize that data for. So it's very funny because, in trading they do this all the time, financial trading. I could take a single day's worth of data where I have my best day in the last 365 days. And I could say, check out what I did in 24 hours. That is a very powerful way to manipulate the data, right? It's not accurate, but whatever, right? Now, the worst way I can manipulate that data is I could find my day where I made the worst trades. Then I could say, man, I really suck. Look what I did on this day. I could do normal data manipulation where we throw out the highest and the lowest points and the average points. And then we make adjustments based on other external factors to kind of get in there in the middle. And you can do that a couple different ways. Now you have a good example of here's what the worst looks like, here's what the best looks like, here's what a couple typical things look like. Even if you take a chunk of days, right? I always laugh when they show win streaks and lose streaks in sports. Because, they went back all the way to the previous win, and that's the cutoff of their data. So they only had all the losing streak. Or they went the opposite way. They went back all the way to the last loss, but didn't count that. And they're only counting the wins up until that point. And then that thing resets again. And that's the kind of data manipulation you can do. Now, obviously, I'm not saying you do this to help sell stuff by misrepresenting stuff to other individuals. I am telling you, though, that you have to be aware when you're looking at your own data on what customers are and aren't buying. And then trying to make inferences from that data. It's very easy not to understand that data completely, the story behind it. So if you're using that to help you make your calibrations, just be aware of that can happen, and make sure that you always question the data. Look towards the data. Don't take it as gospel. Question it and try to get the story behind it. Secondly, the conclusions you draw based on data are dynamic, meaning each new piece of data can influence those conclusions over time. It's very often your conclusions will go from true to false and back to true again. I'll give you one such example. So a lot of promotions, in the start to finish of the promotion, you could say, well, it may be X number of dollars per customer. But there's two scenarios at play there. Scenario number one is you can maximize in a 7-day period how much each customer is worth to you in such a way that they'll never ever buy from you again. They call it the churn and burn model, right? You can also do it in a way where they might not buy as much from you in that 7-day campaign, but at least they don't hate you. And then you discover in the next 30 days, they end up being worth more to you as a customer. So scenario number one, you say, okay, in 30 days, I got more money from that customer up front in 7 days. But overall, in a total of 30 days, I got less money from them. So therefore, you can conclude that scenario B is better than scenario A. Because over 30 days of data, you could say, hey, I got less money from them up front, but more money from them within a month, and that's acceptable to me. However, that's not the full story either. Because what you might have misrepresented or misunderstood about the data was it wasn't truly a churn and burn. You sucked all the money up from them up front, and they got so heads down in the thing you sold them that they didn't buy anything for the next 23 days. But by day 35, when their next buying cycle hit, they bought at greater rates than you've ever seen before. So once you start extending that window out from 30 days to 60 days, you discover the churn and burn approach is actually not churn and burn and is even more lucrative for you from a lifetime customer value perspective. And then a year later, you discover that's wrong. That's why you got to understand true can be false and false can be true when it comes to data, because new data influences the whole data set and the conclusion. So it's okay to make and draw conclusions and take actions based on them, but always recheck those conclusions after a certain period of time or new data or new information has come in to help you recalibrate, right? Data is a consideration at the end of the day, not an end-all be-all. Data is a consideration to help you make adjustments to your marketing and to your market domination. It's not infallible, nor is it worthless. Understanding it is an art, and it takes its own expertise and its own experience and its own refinement and calibration. But when you factor that in with the paths and with everything else we discussed here to help you find and plot on and then take advantage of and create that flagship product, you, my friend, will have something that you're the best at, providing and helping customers that nobody else can hold a candle to. And that's what the flagship module is all about.